You're listening to Comedy Central.
All right, welcome to the Jim Jefferies Show podcast. I'm Jim Jefferies. Let's do the theme song. Do you want to sing it, Forrest?
No.
Brad, do you want to sing it? You know the words.
Of course.
Just make it up. We haven't got one yet.
This is the Jim Jefferies Show. Okay,
Yeah,
there it is.
Podcast. This is podcast.
There was more
Do it
to it.
again.
There was
I
more
mean,
to it.
again.
you'd think that my people would be more musically inclined.
You could sing a lot better in The Wizard of Oz than you just did then.
I need some choreography then.
Are any of the dwarfs from The Wizard of Oz still alive?
One.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
one, and we are protecting him like the Pope.
Really?
Just like,
Really?
he's
And,
our
and
last-
like the Pope, does he molest the people? Does he molest people who are smaller than him?
Well, no, but there was that
When
story
he finds
that
them?
came out. Yeah, there was that story that came out. Like Judy Garland had an interview where like some of the Munchkins were doing things to her.
I heard that because, like, the dwarfs, there was so many dwarfs. We should mention that Brad's a dwarf, right?
We should
mention
also
that.
introduce him.
We should
could do
mention
that.
Brad,
There's a lot of things we
Brad
can do.
Williams. He does a lot more than being a dwarf. He's a fantastic comedian, but he's also a dwarf.
But mostly I'm just a
I
dwarf.
didn't want to start like this, Brad. I didn't want to start like this.
So
but
our guest
anyway,
is Brad Williams.
I heard that on The
Yeah.
Wizard of Oz they had a dwarf wrangler because they were all fucking behind trailers and shit, and there was like a regular sized person
Yeah.
with a stick.
Well, I don't know about the Wrangler, but I know a lot of fucking behind the scenes was happening.
There's a lot of fucking behind the scenes
Yeah.
because you guys are fucking sexed up, right?
Yeah. And Jim knows this because I remember I brought you to the dwarf
You
convention.
brought me to a dwarf convention
Yes.
that I wasn't performing at. Just he wanted me there. No, you brought me to perform at a dwarf convention once.
Yeah.
And I didn't have sex with a dwarf, but I did some fucking shit, man. I did some shit. The other guest we have on the show, he needs no introduction, but he actually does because he's not famous in any way. My brother Scott.
G'day, how you going?
How you going? See, he still has the accent.
A lot of fanfare there.
He still has the accent. My brother Scott is on holiday at the moment. He came to watch a show with his fiancée, Claire, who's here. They just came back from Coachella. So Scott's coming down from drugs.
All right.
How's that working out for you?
No.
Don't laugh too much. Stop laughing. Try to act professional. Right? So Scott's my older brother. I've got two older brothers. I've got
Okay.
Scott and another one.
So you're obviously a huge fan of the other one.
Yeah, and I assume my father has probably fathered a few other children with prostitutes.
All right.
Yeah, right. Not good-looking kids like Scott. Anyway, if you
How
look,
was Coachella?
Awesome.
You-
Awesome.
yeah, well, what was your favorite part about it?
Beyonce was good.
and then his second favourite bit was coming out of the closet. So, it's the Jim Jefferies Show podcast. I should mention my upcoming date, shouldn't I?
Should do
Forrest?
that, yeah.
I should. Jim Jefferies is begun before. I can't speak about myself in the third person.
Yeah.
I got to do this
It's
again.
your name.
I am performing April 27th at Rialto Square Theatre in Jolie, Illinois. We've been mentioning this for a long time.
I know, you've never gotten the name right of the town.
Did I just do it then?
Nope.
I don't want these people
There's
to
a
come.
T. There's
I
a
don't
T.
want
Why-
them to
what
come.
are you, French?
Their
It's
town
Joliet.
sounds stupid. Just live in Chicago, you cunts. What are you living in Joliet for?
There you go. Got it right.
April
Got it right,
28th.
calling the cunt.
Overture Hall in Madison, Wisconsin. Is that right? Did I say that right?
Yeah, that's
Forrest?
right.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
nailed
Thank
it.
you. Thank you very much. April 18th, Centennial Hall.
Nope,
in,
May 18th.
Oh, May 18th.
May 18th.
Because April 18th is Anal Sex Day for fans.
For those that like to participate.
Do you know that Pornhub...
Not like mandatory that
Do
it's
you know
anal
that,
sex day.
do you know
It's
that
just-
Pornhub actually have anal sex videos on April 18th because of my comedy routine? So I don't want to, I don't know.
Did they
if-
contact you?
They just put it. They tried to make me be the face
Yeah.
of Anal Sex Day.
Well, you have a face for anal sex.
I have an ass for anal sex. I
Yes.
don't have a face. Anyway, they tried to give me a deal on Pornhub where I would be the representative of Anal Sex Day, and I said no because I thought that would hurt my brand. Anyway, May 18th, Centennial Hall in London, Ontario, Canada. That's a foreign country, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
May 19th, first Ontario Concert Hall in Hamilton, Canada. Why is it the first Ontario Concert Hall? Is there a hall that's a second one?
Yes.
Are you coming to any of these gigs with me, Forrest? Are you performing?
No, that's Tommy in Canada.
Oh, Tommy
Campbell's in Canada.
Tommy
and JJ,
Tommy Campbell will be.
JJ will be with you in Juliet and Madison. So.
And I'm in Clusterfest Comedy and Music Festival June 1st to June 3rd in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Make sure to wear a flower in your hair, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of gay people and people who work in the tech industry. So,
Pretty much sums it up.
get tickets from JimJefferies.com. That's JimJefferies.com for all your Jim Jefferies needs. Okay, so let's talk about the show. We did a show today. It was the hardest show I've ever had to do. We did 5 acts with no field piece. Now, normally what happens is we do an act, then a field piece. I go off and have a few beers. Right?
Sure.
5 minutes. I get fucked up, right? Then we come back and do a piece. But we had no break because we had an interview today with Marlon Ackerman.
Yeah, that I thought went really well.
I thought it went really well. I'm expecting a text. I think she might, but she's engaged.
Yep, she's engaged, so
You don't
So-
think
that right there.
You think your comment about her green vagina kind of really
I didn't put that. See what happens with interviews. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you and say that we don't know what the other person is going to say. We do a pre-interview where someone talks and says a few questions, and she said she has an interesting story about a picture that her son wrote. So I didn't know where that was going. Right? Turns out that her son drew a picture of her with a great big hole. Now, the hole was her vagina.
Right.
Now, Scott, you'll know what I'm talking about. Our mother has one of those.
I knew you were going to go there.
Yeah, me and Scott just fell out into the world. Our mother was just walking, which is not common for her, but she was walking, and we just fell out, and we bungee corded out with the umbilical cord.
Well, that's very impressive, as opposed to how I was born, where my mom just sneezed and I flew across the room.
Is that for all dwarfs?
We got to get that guy that does Blue Earth to like narrate a dwarf birth.
How does that? Is it different? It's not different. It's just a normal birth.
Yeah,
right?
it's just a normal birth, except for the head is about this size.
Oh, right.
And,
I didn't think about the head size. Your mother must hate you.
Yeah, well, my dad hates me more.
I want to tell.
in Game of Thrones, that's the thing. Peter Dinklage, the character he plays, he killed his mother.
I want to tell a very,
Direct
very
that.
quick story. One time, me and Brad were doing a charity gig for K-Rock called April Foolishness.
Right.
And so we're all staying. I think John Stamos and Bob Saget was in the room.
Yep, John Stamos.
And
who was afraid of little people.
there was a few people, and we were all standing around. We're having drinks, and I'm teasing Brad as I normally do.
Sure.
But Brad's my friend, right? So we're telling these, we're busting each other's balls.
Yeah.
Right. And then there was a girl in the room that started doing dwarf jokes in front of Brad, and I got my fucking end up. I was like, I'm not having this.
Yeah.
And so I went to her, I went, excuse me, can you shut the fuck up? Brad's my friend. And then she went, Brad's my brother.
You know what's
But
funny?
I really appreciated you defending me.
Yeah,
it was
I did.
nice. It was very nice.
You know what's funny is there was I guess we were in the writers' room and we mentioned you're going to be on the podcast. Something came up, and then Jim goes, by the way, we have a dwarf that has no ethical problems with doing anything.
Well, we were trying to write a sketch, and I thought, how can we top this joke? And I just said, we have a dwarf
It's a very valuable resource.
who's going to be around.
Yeah, it's like you kind of have to use it.
Yeah, no, exactly. But anyway, so let's talk about the show. We already talked about Marlon Ackerman, and she wasn't until the third act. In the first act, we talked about what, Forrest?
Syria, hilarious.
Syria.
Yeah, that's the
and that
best.
joke bombed. Am I right?
It is.
Yep. Well, if you don't know, you should know. We attack Syria.
Hey, hello to all of our Syrian friends, by the way. I hope you're okay.
A lot of listeners to the podcast.
All the fans in Syria.
Yep. So last Friday night it was announced that in conjunction with England and France that we were launching airstrikes
We lost our underpants.
against Syria. Against Syria.
Thank you, Scott. I needed support on that.
Chemical weapons facilities. And it was in response because there was an attack by the Syrian president, Bashar al-Assad, against his own people, a chemical weapons attack. And if you've seen the footage of it, it's terrible.
So
as you
what we
expect.
did was we
Yeah, let's
made
make
it
comedy.
comical.
Yeah.
We made fun of the situation, as you do on a comedy
I
show.
mean, yeah, you have to figure out what to make fun of. We didn't make, but it's tough.
Well, the thing about the whole thing is like people get into me and the show for bagging on Trump all the time, and we don't particularly want to do it. We would rather not talk about Trump. But then things come up and you have to fucking mention it. So
Sure.
him bombing Syria, we have to mention it. Now, this is one of the few things, and I'll say this, I agree they should have bombed Syria. I agree. Like, Assad is a fucking piece of shit. The chemical warfare is the wrong thing. They did a very clinical, in my opinion, attack. With it. And then once they bring in Britain and France, I'm like, fuck yeah, man. They fucking brought in everybody. I can't believe they didn't bring in Australia and New Zealand. We could have sent one plane, just dropped some didgeridoos and shit fucking on them, but they didn't ask us to come, and I'm very resentful about that.
The flight's very long. I understand.
Yeah. Like, the Australians are just showing up now. They're just bombing things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, fucking hell, we'll fuck this thing up that's already fucked up.
So you agree
You
with
must be here. Now there's Australians getting drunk in Syria right now, clogging up the pubs, just fucking going, "Hey, ever been to Sydney? It's all right. It's prettier than this place. Fuck you, cunt."
So you agree with the attack? is what
I
you're saying.
agree with the attack. I am dubious whether Trump did it because of the book coming out from Comey, which was our second act.
That's the question.
That's the question, because Assad has
of it.
been using chemical weapons against these people for years.
Right.
And then it came along the same time that Comey did the thing. But look,
But see,
I would
with
say-
Trump, there's like a scandal every week, so it's always timing appropriate.
yeah, everything's always going to be timing appropriate.
Yeah. I tend to think, and I mean, as much as I think that he's capable of doing that, I tend to think that this was not timed that way because it was coordinated with two other countries, and that would be kind of, they don't give a shit about timing it with the book, you know, so I think it was probably
You don't
planned.
know what was going on in Theresa May's life.
Yeah, she was one of the prostitutes.
Yeah,
She was the beat
she
tape.
got caught fingering Margaret Thatcher's corpse, and she thought, this is a bad time for
Again.
this.
Yeah. That old chestnut just keeps popping up.
Oh, I'm sorry that was such a hacky joke that everyone uses. Talking about that, how you doing, Jack? This is Jack Hackett is still with us. Jack Hackett's here. Now, what happened with Jack is, before we start the show, he had to move a chair, and he got a little bit of grease on his hand. It's really fucked with Jack's day.
We didn't tell you to take the mic, Jack.
Yeah, and Jack
He
did
thought he
it.
was going to talk.
Jack
Stand.
did it, but he couldn't hack it. It was fucking weird.
Couldn't
So
hack
you
the
can take the
grease.
mic now, Jack.
Yeah, pick it
Fight
up.
back, Jack.
Okay,
Fight
now put it back down. Put it back down. All right, now pick it up, Jack. Come on.
Okay.
How you doing, Jack?
I'm all right. How are you doing?
Now, I said to you something today. I said, how's your parents doing? Are they proud of you? And you said, my mum texted me today and said she was. You're a product of positive thinking.
Reinforcement
Reinforcement, yeah.
and thinking.
I'll say what I'll read what my mom said. It was complimenting everybody.
She sent me a different text.
Yeah.
Bitches.
Wow, gee, Scott, that was a bit harsh.
She said, "Have a good podcast. The Fab Four: Jim, Forrest, Scott, and Jack."
I'm insulted by that shit.
Jim,
I don't like your
Forrest,
mother.
Scott, and Jack. Scott's Scott, the producer, not my brother. No.
Yeah, not you, Scott.
What do you think of my brother, Jack?
I like them.
Yeah, who do you think's better looking?
You.
Thank you.
Yeah,
You
he
work
knows-
for me, Jack.
he knows
You
where
work
the
for
money
me.
is.
You know where the money
He
is.
knows what he wanted to say.
Now, if you don't know a lot about Scott Nugent, which is my real second name, is Scott Nugent, was a double hyphenated name. But Scott's my brother, and Scott is famous for a very famous punchline of my stand-up comedy career, Up Gunter Up.
Yeah, pissed off about that.
Why?
Because I haven't seen any money from that joke. I wrote it.
What do you mean you wrote it? You
I wrote
lived
that
it.
joke.
You didn't fucking write it.
You
I
said it,
retold
though.
the story.
I said it, and I've seen nothing.
Yeah, but you.
Yeah, because you didn't have the wherewithal to
You could
put it
have
up on
a
the stage.
You could have a stand-up career. We could compete like the Gallagher brothers, both Oasis and the watermelon crushing.
How? That's quite a coincidence, though.
That's quite a coincidence. Yeah.
yeah.
No, it's
and
not
they
a
all-
coincidence. The Gallagher, you know what happened?
What's that?
The one that had the original act couldn't do the act anymore, and I got to look.
No,
up
but
why.
he's saying it's a coincidence that the Oasis Gallagher
Right.
brothers had the same
I thought
storyline
you
as
meant the
the
actual
American.
Gallagher.
No, not the actual Gallagher brothers. I know how brothers are made.
No, but you know the one he took over. his
Imagine
act,
dwarf twins. Is that
I
a
know
thing?
some.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, dwarf twins.
I didn't think that was biologically possible.
It is. How lucky is that?
Do they look the same? Are they identical dwarf
Yes,
twins?
I know identical dwarf twins that live both in Portland and Erie, Erie, Indiana. Yeah.
I feel sorry for the ones in Erie, Indiana.
Are you kidding me? They're the biggest, like, they're the main attraction of that city.
Yeah, they're not the biggest attraction. You almost said they're the biggest
And
attraction.
then I caught myself. I was like, damn it.
Yeah, occasionally they get on each other's shoulders and wear a trench coat and get in the movies.
No, but the story of the Gallagher comedy brothers
Yeah.
is that the one Gallagher, he was smashing like stuff with the Sledge-O-Matic, the Fruit. He did jokes too. But then his brother, that was Ron, his brother Leo asked him if he could like do some stuff from his act, like use the Sledge-O-Matic. And he said,
Sure.
yeah, under the condition you perform as Leo Gallagher. And then for several years, then he started promoting his act as Gallagher 2 or Gallagher 2. And in some instances, Ron act was promoted in the same way that his brother's was. So he had to sue his brother, basically, to make him stop using the routine.
This is what I'm going to tell you right now, Scott. You want to give up your successful career that you already have.
You can just take all his jokes. Do
You
the
can
just do
be
your stuff
You
about
can
Mum.
be.
Yeah.
You can be a Jim Jefferies tribute act. you can
You do
be.
the first couple specials.
You can be Tim Jeffries.
Yeah, I'm waiting for you to be killed.
Ah, yeah. Do you wonder if there's like a John Lennon tribute act that's always nervous walking into his hotel?
Just like, how accurate are they trying to make this?
You remember when we were in Fort Lauderdale one time, and then one of my friends was in the crowd, and he goes, "Hey, there's a guy that's dressed just like Jim, and he looks like Jim." And I go, whatever, it's probably a coincidence.
Yeah, and then there was all these tag photos. This guy
Yeah.
was taking photos with everyone
Yeah,
outside.
and people thought it was Jim, so
He
they're
looked
like,
just
"Me and Jim
like me."
Jeffries."
Yeah.
He was dressed in a leather jacket. He
Oh.
had his hair. Yeah.
I know a dwarf who does that, like, posing as me.
Oh yeah.
He's done it both posing as
Yeah,
me.
but he had a more successful career in Jackass.
But he's done both. He's posed as me and he's posed as Wee Man.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He goes to Vegas casinos, or sometimes not Vegas casinos, but smaller casinos outside of Vegas.
Sure. You got to work outside.
Yeah, and he tries to get booked there.
Oh, he actually does your act.
Not my act, but he tries to like be like one of those, like whenever you go and it says, "Hey, come to this nightclub, Snooki's there."
Oh, yeah.
Like he tries to be one of those. It's very strange to know. Like, I just want to know that he's being nice to people.
Do you get invited just to do nightclubs?
No, I'm not. I'm not
You're
that
not
famous
Snooki
yet.
worthy. No, you're not.
No, I'm not nearly as famous as Snooki.
So to
Or
summarise, there's been problems in Syria.
Well, I think we should say before we wrap it up is that, because there was a point you were trying to make, is that you agree with the fact that we attacked the chemical weapons facility, but the hypocritical part of it is
Is that we don't take refugees into this country? So they're only taking.
we used to.
They used to. They're only taking 11 Syrian refugees into America, and like Germany's
far this
taking
year,
a
yeah.
million. Australia's taking more. Britain and France are taking more, and it's just such a fucking. This whole idea is we bring them in, they'll all be terrorists. The refugees don't get to decide where the fuck they're going.
No.
They get allocated a spot. It's a lottery. Right? But we were talking about this forest before. We've always had problems with immigrants. There's always been good people and bad people.
The fear is that they're saying, because just the stats, 2016, we took in over 15,000 Syrian refugees. That's when Obama was in office.
Sure.
Last year, it went down to, I think something like, I don't have the number here, like 6,000 or something like that. But, and then this year, we've only taken 11. And then part of it is like the people are worried about Syrians coming to the country because they say some terrorists will be able to sneak in.
Yeah, but it's the whole thing, and they also do this whole thing is they don't assimilate, and they don't know this. Okay, so if you go back fucking 80 years, right, the Italians came in. What happened?
Hundreds of years, yeah.
What happened? They all became fucking mafia. This is how the plot line goes.
Yeah.
So only some of them did. They blew up fucking restaurants, they extorted people and all that type of stuff. And now we have Tommy Caprio.
Yeah. No, the Italians are obviously most of them are, opened up.
Most of them are
Restaurants
dodgy
that we
cunts.
love,
Most of them are dodgy mafia fucks.
on television.
But we still live amongst them.
Yeah.
And we accept them.
So, I mean, but the point is like, obviously, this country was founded, not found, but there's immigrants made the country into what it is. And,
Mayflower.
there's plenty of people that came into this country as immigrants, and they ended up not being good people. But that's such a small fraction of what the actual numbers are. So it's like,
and I meet a lot of people that are from here that are assholes.
Oh, yeah.
that I'd love.
The point of the argument is this.
citizens already. And
Assholes are fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
Assholes don't see colour. Well, they do. It's a brown tinge.
oh, I thought it was just like reds and blues.
Well, that's just what you've been.
Are we talking about actual assholes? We had a joke. About, was this in this set, about the punching bag?
Yes.
Yeah. So what happened
it's in this
was
one.
we said he sent missiles, and Trump said he sent new missiles, and the joke was, of course they're new. They're fucking missiles, right? they're not like condoms. You can't reuse them. Was the big joke. And then we did this graphic that involved like a hamster using a cum-filled condom as a punching bag. I wrote this joke.
That's where you could have used me, Jim. I could have been there instead of the hamster.
Or you could have been the condom.
Needs a graphic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it needs a graphic. So the second act was our friend James Comey, the former director of the FBI, has brought out a book that is heavily based on Trump and what Trump has been up to. And so, is this news gotten to Australia?
Yeah.
We got that. We got that because the Australian news doesn't cover everything. Normally, it's stories like this, like Phil lost his bike.
Yeah.
That was a big story.
Broke down.
Yeah, has Phil got his bike back yet?
No.
Oh yeah, God, the country's in turmoil.
This would be a fun show to do over there. Then that's the lead story.
You haven't seen last week's episode, have you?
No.
No, you were over here. We did a whole thing on the Australian cricket ball.
I
Ball
saw
taming.
that before I went the cricket thing. Sandpaper on the cricket ball.
Then you have seen it. But
Is that really a big story? I mean,
Yeah,
biggest.
it is.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be big in America, of course.
I know. We
Huge.
we don't know what cricket is here.
No, we play real sports here.
Yeah, you don't like cricket?
We don't have cricket. There's not even like a cricket club here. There's no cricket at all. It's a big field. You'd have to,
Yeah, you don't have the space.
That's your thing. Why we don't play cricket?
Well, you got to make it free. You can't just play it
You got to
anywhere.
kick a few people out.
Not going to go for the shin guards.
All right. So anyway, we talked about James Comey, and James Comey was talking about he's doing his book tour.
His book. It's called A Higher Loyalty: Truth, Lies, and Leadership.
Catchy, innit? Can't wait for the movie.
Very dynamic.
I imagine he'll be played by Tim Robbins. I'm calling it.
He does
I'm
look
calling
like
it. Tim Robbins. Tim Robbins will play Comey
He's a little
in a
old
movie
now.
called Comey.
He is a little old for him, but
They can make him look younger. I'm 87.
As long as they get Nathan Lane to play Sean Hannity, I'm in.
Oh yeah.
That's perfect.
And make it a musical.
Comey the musical.
Yeah. Done.
And Trump will be played by an asshole covered in fucking horsehair.
Yeah. The hookers peeing will be the best part of that musical. There'll just be water spraying on the crowd.
It'll be like Gallagher.
They'd write a whole song.
Yeah, the
peeing song.
Yeah, it's Splash Mountain, they'll call it. No, it's in Russia. It'll be called what's
Splish
it?
Mountain.
Splish Mountain.
Yeah. Yeah, and they'll pass out
Yeah, it'll
tarps
be
like
called-
in SeaWorld.
Kremlin, let me in.
First two rows, you will get wet.
Yeah. Pierogi, the musicals. That's everything I know about Russia. Russian dolls. See us piss inside smaller dolls.
Vodka.
Vodka. They also have
Kremlin.
vodka, and they hate the gays.
Not a fan.
All
The
of
Russians
the
don't
entire
like the
country.
gays.
Not a fan of the gays.
Look, I will not travel to Russia. I won't even holiday there because their gay rights thing is not good, and that's my stance on that.
Yeah.
Plus, they might bomb us one day.
Yeah.
Yeah. My mom doesn't like Russians, and she likes everybody.
Yeah,
It's really
except
weird.
the gays. His mum's adamant.
She didn't like the gays? All right, she might not like the gays.
No. My mom.
Which is
no, but
ironic
she's
because you'd
kidding,
have a
but-
lot in common with the Russians.
Yeah, and her son.
No. The thing is, doesn't make sense, but okay.
We've hurt Russell's. We've hurt Forrest's feelings.
No, but she's like
That means an eclipse is about to happen.
she's the.
Oh, you've done it. You have.
No, I'm just saying because they're so rare. You always
No, I mean,
feeling.
I'm trying to get a point out,
Oh,
and of
God.
course, you act like this is your show or something. All right. Anyways, Comey.
Isn't it funny that Comey sounds like Call Me?
No.
After you're like having a fight with a political fight with a woman, you can say Comey.
Nope.
No, okay.
Still not. Edit that out, Kelly.
Don't
But how do you
fucking
wait?
Dare edit that out. That's my favourite bit of the podcast.
Sin.
People who are listening in their cars right now are crashing. They're laughing so much.
Who's the girl that does the "Call Me Maybe" song? What's her name?
What's
Carly Rae Jepsen.
Carly Rae Jepsen. Yeah.
So Comey, maybe.
Yeah.
I've
Weird
just
Al
brought a
can
book
do.
out.
Weird
You
Al
can
can
do
do a
that.
I
"Call
like
Me
this
Maybe"
one.
song.
I like this song better.
Oh, yeah, ring Comey. Ring Weird Al. They're probably hanging out together. Just ring one of them.
Yeah.
They'll be sitting together at any point of the day.
Sure.
So anyway, so that was what happened there. There was a book out. We chatted about
That's the whole
that for a
thing?
bit.
Just book
Yeah.
out? Yeah, all
We
right,
chatted about it. What was
There's
the
hookers pissing in
We
this
made
bit. You're not even
the
talking
problem
about
that I had was
Yeah.
there was too much hooker piss going on. We talked about Trump too much this episode, but the episode happened because of the week's news that happened, and that was that. You know.
Well, one of the funny things that I thought about what that the prostitutes pissing that we didn't talk about was that Trump said that there's no way that he'd be in that room because he's a germaphobe, and that why would he be watching two hookers piss on each other because he's a germaphobe? Which number one, like he wasn't near them; he was across the room.
Isn't everyone a germaphobe though? Is there anyone
no one loves germs.
No one's like this. Oh, I love germs. I like to be around germs as much as possible.
I just like to go into bathrooms and lick toilet seats.
What I do is I shit my hand and smear it on my tongue. I'm a non-germaphobe.
Yeah.
Germophile.
I'm a germophile. I collect germs. Anyway, so Trump said he wouldn't do that. Look, I have to take him on face value, but he definitely did that. I don't know. Can we get sued for saying that, Kelly?
Well, I mean, we're just quoting what happened in the book.
Yeah, that's true.
And then Trump did a whole thing about, does he look like a guy who needs prostitutes? And I think with prostitutes, good-looking people get prostitutes.
Exactly.
You don't pay them for sex, you pay them to leave. Like, that's such a ridiculous premise that, like, Trump says, oh, I don't look like a guy who got prostitutes. You're a fucking billionaire.
Yeah. That's
He's in his
exactly.
70s. You're the target market.
That's literally who they dream of running into.
Also, what does that mean? Does he think he's
They're trying to
good-looking?
advertise to you.
Right.
Does he think he's good looking too? I don't even understand the whole.
He does really think he's good looking because he's often said in
Because
interviews.
his daughter has told him that.
He's like, he always. Because he often says things, he goes, oh, women like me, and something about the look. He says that, and it's like, you don't think it's because of the money?
Yeah. Take away the $1 billion and the buildings with your name on it.
But how do you like? I guess you're
he was
narcissist.
homeless.
Yeah, you're narcissist. You look in the mirror, you're just like killing it, you know. Versus like other people that have like self doubt and whatever. And
Yeah,
it's like
I understand that.
What do you think when you look in the mirror? You're like
When I look in the mirror, no, I don't think I'm good looking. No,
at all.
yeah, you had that bit in your act about how you're a solid
I'm
five.
a solid 5 with a
Yeah.
good sense of humor, and you know what else women love? Alcoholics. They can't get
fun
enough.
time.
They can't get enough
Fun
of them.
time.
Because they look at me and they think he might hit me if he gets angry.
Or projects. That's what it is more.
And that's why they love me, because they're safe.
Yeah.
What am I going to do?
Hit him around the middle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're a good guy that if we teamed up, I could push a girl and you could be kneeled down. Perhaps.
The worst thing I could do is get drunk and give you a mean Charlie horse on your thigh.
What's a Charlie horse?
Oh, that's when you
Caught thigh.
Ah, that's
Yeah.
a dead leg.
Dead leg.
We call it dead leg. in
Dead
Australia.
Yeah, we call them dead legs here too.
Yeah, we call
Dead
him.
legs. Anyway, so that was
Dead
that.
leg would have been a better joke.
And then Act 3.
The worst.
We had a guest. Our first female guest on the show, but we've only had like
great.
5. We've normally had politicians, and it was Marlon
Well, we've
Ackerman
had females on the show, but in studio.
in studio guests. Yeah, and so it was Marlon Ackerman, and she was a delight. She was up
In the
for
new
anything.
movie Rampage.
New movie
And
Rampage.
she's in the show Billions and Showtime, and she's been in a ton of other stuff.
She's had her own sitcoms.
Yeah.
She's done a lot of movies.
Yeah.
She's Swedish, and we know how ugly they are.
Yeah.
Sure.
Very pretty. And then she was born in Sweden, moved to Canada when she was young, and obviously she's here now. So, and she's about to get her citizenship like you are.
And also, it's weird because she's lived in Canada since she was a very young child, which is what children are. And she's
Germaphobe.
she's never got a Canadian citizenship. She's always kept a Swedish one. And it turns out the Canadian people are like, okay, but you better get it someday because if you don't get it tomorrow, we're going to send you a pamphlet.
Now, here's something that me and a couple of the writers were discussing backstage.
My Canadian is Homer
Yeah,
Simpson.
it's Homer Simpson. He does the best Homer Simpson.
Oh, look, Canada, maple syrup. So much maple syrup.
Homer's awesome.
But
the same
the reason is like most of the time you're just trying to say that Canadians aren't smart.
No, don't say that. I sell better in Canada than I do in America. You're very smart.
You keep saying it to them though.
No, they're look, Canadians are like Australians in the sense that we like being teased. You know what I mean? Actually, that's not true. Australians hate being teased.
No. Canada has a good sense of humor.
They have a good sense of humor.
And
Also,
they're self-deprecating,
our
so.
TV show on the Comedy Channel in Canada, #1.
Comedy Channel. That's what it's called.
Really?
We beat all other
Nail
Comedy
it.
Central shows they send. We are #1 in Canada. So thank you, Canada, for watching. But it turns out that Comedy Central Central. I said, isn't that a big deal? Does that help us? And they were like, we don't really check that rating. So the fucking people at Comedy Central are fucking me in the ass.
And this is a Comedy Central podcast.
A Comedy Central
Comedy
podcast.
Central.
Thank you for everything, Comedy Central. Hey, Suba's here. Suba, come in.
Yeah, I told someone to come by.
Come in.
Yeah, come sit in.
So what happened was we did an Act 4, and our Act 4 was talking about how Melania Trump did the most innocuous,
And
boring.
this isn't Melania Trump's fault, by the way.
This is Melania.
Fox. This is
we
Fox
have nothing
News'
against
fault.
Melania
Yeah.
Trump,
This
but
is
they
Fox
made
News'
this. They made this movie going on about the movie, like a short film.
Yeah,
so it
they
can't-
made it like a Christopher Nolan thing.
They made
for
this thing, and they
Dunkirk.
said you must see this.
So what
And
happened was
it was just footage of a child in the White House knocking over a glass of water.
She said it was okay.
And Melania went, "Hey, don't worry about it. It's just water." And they acted like it was fucking Mother Teresa.
Yeah, they had
Right?
music. They were like, "You got to see this." She comforts a child in need, whatever. The kid, by the way, didn't give two shits. He was just like on
walked
to his
away.
life. Yeah, he was like spilled water.
Yeah, and
The
it's
White
like,
House
it's like
picked
we're
that
not
shit
trying
up.
to just shit on Melania when we do that.
it's
We're
the coverage.
shitting on the people who made the coverage of that, who said that this was a big deal, because it wasn't a big deal.
No.
It wasn't. All she did was what anyone would do.
Yeah, if she did anything other than what she did, then it would be a big deal.
Yeah.
If the guy spilled some water and then she just was like off to the gallows with
Yeah,
you.
if she went,
timely reference,
"What?"
Brad. Good job. Yeah,
Charlie horse.
She Charlotte.
I got damn good references over here.
Are-
My references are for five
Yeah.
people.
Early on, I saw Brad pushing around a wheel with a stick around the car park. Kicking
What are
a-
those things called?
Wheels and
I
sticks.
was
Google
familiar
it,
with this-
Google it.
That's why so much shit was invented back then. That's like, hey, what are we going to do? Invent something or push around this thing with a stick? It's like there's
Yeah,
nothing
in
to do.
between playing kick the can, Brad's time's all taken up.
Stick ball.
I don't even know how to
It's
Google
funny
this
because
thing.
once I tried to do a kick the can joke, and we have a writer, Jason Whitehead, who's Canadian. This is so Canadian. I said, it's like kick the can. What was wrong in the olden days? They didn't have balls. They had to kick cans around. And then Jason explained the rules of kick the can.
He knew there
It was
was
so
rules.
Canadian. He goes, no, you don't want it to be a ball because it has to kick and then land on its side because that's the home base that you have to touch. And I'm like, fuck me, you've ruined that
I
joke.
thought the rule was just rule number one: kick the can.
I thought it was a bunch of simpletons kicking a can around an alleyway.
It is.
It is.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
very accurate.
No, it's like they kick it and then it's like a home base or something. It's a whole fucking production. Anyway.
You're going to be surprised to learn that the thing with a stick and the thing, it's called hoop rolling.
well, it says what it does on the
Yeah,
tin.
yeah.
Sure.
And the
We
aim
should've-
of the game is to keep the hoop upright for long periods
And
of time.
rolling.
That's the end
Was
of the
this-
game.
Rolling.
Was this also written by JJ? Like,
But if you simplify things, it always sounds simple. Like if you called,
Well, it's pretty
if you
simple.
called sex thrusty rub, right?
I think I
All
read
of a
that
sudden-
last
all of a
night.
sudden-
Yeah.
What kind of sex are you having, first of all? What's the rub?
You're rubbing your dick against things.
After the thrusting?
Thrusty rub.
What is it?
Rub
What
sounds
is-
like a sandwich at Fat Sal's.
It
or
also
something.
sounds
Just
like the
like-
original name for Jar Jar Binks.
You rub it like
Yeah.
what? Like you pat him on the head? Like good job.
You thrust in and you rub your dick a bit. And you're like, oh, that feels good. I'm enjoying that.
Rub,
What's
rub.
your name? Thrusty Rub. Jack, when was the last time you had Thrusty Rub?
Never.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, great for
Jack-
it's great for a
Jack-
podcast when you motion.
Yeah. Jack just put his hands up in the air
got
like he was
red.
an old Jewish guy in a deli.
It's got red.
So we have a new guest. She just walked in.
Now we did a special thing that it won't appear on this episode because the episode's already filled. It may appear online and we may re-record it again. But Suba, one of our writers, became our first correspondent because I can't do all the field pieces anymore because I'm what the French call lazy. And so what happened was Suba wrote a piece all by a lonesome. Did I pay you for that?
No.
No, you did it on your own time.
Well,
that
she's
happened to
getting
me
paid
once
on the
as
show.
well. I
She's a
didn't
writer.
pay
Yeah,
for my stuff.
but you did it in your free time. You didn't
Yeah.
take up valuable hamster boxing time. I hear you weren't involved in that joke very much when I left the room. You were like less cum in the condom, which I regret having you. Anyway, Anyway, so Suba did a piece, and we did a desk piece together. Now, I will admit this. I probably rehearsed the rest of the show a little bit more, but I did my best. But I'm such a terrible reader. And when you came on and read your piece perfectly the first time, it made me think, why the fuck have I got a TV show? We should have the Suba
All the writers
show.
were thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Just like,
It's hurtful. It's hurtful. I'm as dumb as a rock, but I got a bit of charm. Scott's got it as well.
Yeah, you haven't got better reading. Your dyslexia is still bad.
Yeah, it's still bad.
Still bad.
Still bad.
Well, we haven't cured it yet.
Yeah, we haven't cured that.
It's not like the AIDS, which is the
That got
same as
better.
it's always been.
yeah.
Ritalin hasn't worked.
Anyway, so I can't read.
You know what? I'm proud of you. Suba was a guest on the first guest. She works on the show, but she was on the first podcast. And at the very beginning of that podcast, it was her and Matt, right?
Yeah.
And you know Matt's first and last name, and you go, introduce our guest, because you didn't know her last name. But now you do.
Now you said it.
You
I
said her
still
name.
panic saying her name because Suba's name is foreign.
Well,
I never get mad at people because I'm also really bad at saying Indian names, and it's just doubly worse because they just look at me with this lost hope. We're like, you were supposed to be the one who knows this, and I'm like, oh, sorry. Like,
yeah.
You don't know other Indian names?
I know some of them.
I know Gandhi.
Yeah.
Gandhi's another one.
I'm
sorry.
Keep going. Keep going.
Aziz Ansari.
Or,
Is he Indian?
or as you say, I sneeze, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I call Aziz Ansari. I sneezed. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's also
I don't want to be mean, but that's my nickname for him.
Helps
I
you
watched
remember.
it. I sneezed. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Is that racist, Saba
Little.
Agua?
No, on point.
Anyway, so that's what actually happened with him in that bad date. He sneezed and he... Anyway, so Suba brought on a piece that was very close to Suba's heart.
Abstinence.
Abstinence. Now, Suba grew up... You tell the story.
Tell us about it.
Well, my parents had arranged marriage, and like I wasn't even allowed to talk to boys outside of school. But I would just lie about that shit. Like Adam was Amanda, and like Henry was Heidi. Like everyone had like I had a double life at 9 years old.
Wow.
It was
And no Indian. And they weren't Indian either, the boys.
there weren't really that
You
many
know
Indians
about
in my
you
neighborhood.
know about Adam Pasir. What are you talking about? It's Adam and fucking Heidi and Henry.
No, but I'm making the point because
They
that's
weren't
even doubly
Indian
worse.
as well.
Like, it's not only that. Is it? You're talking. Yeah, and then also.
Well, we weren't doing anything. You know what I mean?
Oh, not at 9. Not at 9. You want to wait a while till you're
Yeah,
10 or
Maybe-
11.
Are you
Double
still-
digits.
Are you still getting an arranged marriage?
No.
No, she can't arrange a date.
Hey, I do pretty well on Bumble.
Can I
Bumble.
get
Get
me a
on
beer
Bumble.
out of the fridge? Can I get a beer out of the fridge? Thanks, folks. Anyway, so she does all right in Bumble.
But it was actually quite a point of tension with my family because like I lied to them about being a virgin until I was 26, and then
Why? So for a whole year you lied.
5 years. Thank you. My mom was upset about a joke I had online. Like, this is how much she wanted me to be a virgin. She thought I was writing what I was supposed to say because she's like, all these female comics talk about sex, and she's like, you're just doing what all of these women do. And I'm like, yeah, that's
Hey,
it. That's
hey,
an act.
That's a bit
Sorry.
racist.
Suba, you don't do the voice.
We don't do the
Jeez,
voice.
that was a bit much to do the voice. And you shouldn't have wobbled your head side to side. Fucking hell. I didn't like that. And don't look, why did you look back like she was driving an Uber? Oh, I didn't like that.
Held your finger on the
And there was,
forehead.
for some reason, you like did the
terrible.
thing with your eyes. That's not even Indian. I don't know. Why you did
Yeah,
that.
why
That
did you
was
do
weird.
Asian eyes? That was odd.
It's bad.
It's mean-spirited, Suba.
Lost
Anyway.
your train of thought. What were you
Yeah.
saying?
Oh yeah, arranged marriage.
Your mum.
No, she's just arranged a towel into her headwear. I don't know what's going on with Suba.
So your mom's really gonna like this when she sees it.
Oh yeah. Oh, well, here's the thing. Like, it was one of those things where she was like criticizing me on my birthday. That's when I lost it because I was like, it's my birthday, and you can't even pick one day to not slut shame me. And she doesn't even know how much of a slut I was.
My
It was
11th
weird.
birthday was like that.
But it was this is embarrassing, but I was coming out of this shitty comedy club in Times Square. It's like the worst comedy club. It's LOL Comedy Club, the worst. And like it was just a nightmare. And then I walk out, and my mom calls me, and I just lose it. Like I'm in the middle of Times Square, I start screaming, "I am not a virgin!" I'm a whore. Just like into the
I mean,
To be fair, Times Square is the place to do that.
exactly. That fits in perfectly.
Yeah, you want to make money. That's how you do it. Yeah.
Like, why did you have to go to the other degree? Like, you could have gone, I'm not a virgin. I've had several amounts of sex. You had to go for whore.
I've had several healthy
Yeah,
relationships.
why did you say slut? Whore involves money and whatnot.
Yeah.
And what did she do?
Whore is anyone who like touches before marriage to my mom. But like it was like this is bizarre, but I was so afraid of being disowned that I disowned myself. I was like, I'm not a part of this family anymore, and I stopped talking to them because my mom was really nasty about it. But I also like I get where she's coming from. Like she just had a different education, different culture. Like it's mind blowing to somebody who grew up in that to like live the way Americans do. So I was like, I get it, but I cannot deal with this shit. And then it wasn't until my dad got sick that I came back, and then we like started talking again, and it's like been a lot better. She's
Does
been
she
a lot
watch
more
the
chill.
show? Does she watch the show?
She tries not to watch anything I do.
She better not watch the episode you're in.
But does she support me?
Yeah.
That's the important question.
He's pro-Indian.
Yeah.
Always has been.
I've always have been. I've been very
cricket.
good
Likes
to the
cricket.
Indians. One of the Indians,
He's
not
bought
the
a
other.
lot of soccer balls.
Everyone missed my joke. I'll do it again.
Sorry.
One group of Indians, not the other.
Ah.
You decide.
There you go.
No, I'm kidding. No, I like all Indians. I lived in Britain for a long time. I've had sex with several of your people.
Oh, well, that sounds like
Several-
you.
Now that explains the newsletter. I
Yeah,
got.
yeah. The amount of girls who had to leave my apartment with, Mum, I'm not a virgin. I'm in a lot of trouble. I'm a whore.
You're either getting
Where
a
are
new
you?
Uber.
Jim Jefferies' apartment. Wow, you are a whore.
So yeah, the piece isn't going to air tomorrow, but I don't know when it's going to air. But I mean, I thought it was really
We'll
good.
put it
I thought
online.
you-
Actually, to be honest with you, I don't think it will air because I liked it a lot. I think we can put it on the show. What do you think, Scott?
Yeah.
So in a future episode, it's an evergreen piece. So we can record it at a different time. The only reason we have to put it on the show is because I got to change outfits. But Suba got very dressed up. She got very dressed up. Normally she shows up to work in a Hessian sack. But
Today she looked like a realtor, isn't that
You're
what you said?
yeah. She looked like she was going to show me a property and call it a fixer-upper.
No, this one's got open
It's
concept.
cozy. It's cozy.
It's cozy.
How did it feel to you, Suba?
It was good. The first time I did it, I did it. We did 2 takes, and the first time I could tell I was nervous because my hands started to go numb, and then in the back of my head I was like, "Uh oh."
You couldn't tell.
That's just called a strange
Yeah,
head.
it was I think you're mistaking nerves for a stroke.
Yeah, I thought the first the first read was good, but the second one was much better. Like
second
for
one
you
I
and
felt
Jim both,
way
like it
better.
was really nailed it the second time. I thought.
And she said to me, she goes, I felt like there was peanut butter in my mouth, which is my entire fucking TV show.
Yeah.
I feel like the whole time. Do you know, incidentally, and that was filmed here, that's how they made Mr. Ed talk.
They
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
Our same lot. I think it's
Yeah.
our same studio.
The same
right?
studio,
Yeah,
same
yeah.
studio. They
Mr.
put,
Ed was in our
they
studio.
They would put peanut butter in Mr. Ed's mouth,
lip.
right? And then a small Asian woman would wank him off. and that's how they got him to
Well,
talk.
and that wouldn't even get him talking. That was just for his benefit.
That was in as an inclusion writer, Mr.
Yeah.
Eds. Is that what it was? Need an Asian one to jerk me off.
Just isolate that audio.
Repeat the joke. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to say that this podcast, I don't want to look like big ourselves up too much, but this may be the funniest thing ever to air anywhere, ever. But not very factual. We didn't really cover any material. So has anyone got any final thoughts?
Oh, well, there's a couple things. Well, number one, update on T5 Transit. which
Oh,
is,
T5. Also, happy April
love
18th,
T5.
anyone?
Yeah.
Tomorrow's April 18th. If you don't
If you're
know
a
what
fan,
that is,
if you don't know what that
Probably not Jim
means.
Jefferies.
Oh, Suba, do you know what that is?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Yeah, big day.
Did you know that before you met me?
Yes.
All right, Suba.
That's around.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, not for that reason.
Tell your mom.
Suba, Agual, she gives it all.
No.
So T5 Transit started at 131 a couple weeks ago, right? Now they're up to 6,105
good.
Are
followers.
you followed, Scott?
Absolutely love it. I can't wait to get
Yeah,
on
and
it.
it's
And this is
The
just one
horizontal
train,
elevator.
right?
Here's
This is
the
just
thing.
one
It's the train that just
There it
goes
is.
400 feet
Yeah.
from the terminal to baggage claim. And they put up pictures around. Please follow us on Twitter.
I mean, it's got a lot of views.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Hates the gays, by the way. That
Oh, yeah.
They're still not following me. They follow Jack Hackett and not me. I took the goddamn
It's
picture.
funny, 'cause
T5.
it's funny because Forrest actually came to me. He was very distressed about this. He actually said, T5 aren't following me.
Yeah. If it wasn't for me,
hey,
then we wouldn't be doing this.
T5, if you're listening, don't follow me.
Don't fight
It's
Forrest.
I
really
made
fucking,
you.
it's really riling him up. Every day he gets a little bit harder.
Take you down. Yeah, and so that's an update on that. We got a couple emails. Just will read one
This
of them.
should be the TV show.
Yeah. So
This is better.
show topic. Do you want to talk about why this guy just wants to know why you don't think a president, why being religious is important when you're a president? They
It's
always
not.
have
It's
to
not
say-
important.
No, but if you're a president, you have to say you're religious. Donald Trump had to say he reads the Bible.
That's an American thing. You have to, because there's so many religious people. If you say you're an atheist, you can't be president.
voted in.
You have to say God bless America. That's so ingrained in you. In Australia, we had our first female prime minister, and she was also an atheist.
Atheist.
How'd that go?
She lasted about 6 months. We fucking
We got rid of her. Got rid of her.
That was one of my
She was a ginger. That was the big problem.
that was
She
the problem.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, she was.
one of my favorite things when Donald Trump was running. He had to say like that he was religious because you have
Yes.
to. And he goes, he just had a press conference. And he goes, all right, my favorite books. He goes, number 2, Art of the Deal. He had to still say his name of his book. And then he said, number 1, the Bible, best book. Like but you could tell it pained him to say that. He was like, he still had to say the name of his book.
There was one interview he gave where someone asked him, "Well, what are some of your favorite passages?" And he goes, "That's a very personal question."
Yeah, he doesn't know shit. He's just saying numbers, John.
about God.
10-5.
Yeah, I'd say I like the bit.
the whole
I
lot.
like the bit with Noah. So I'd say that was a good read. Joseph had a coat.
Yeah.
That was good.
I like the bit in Leviticus where it says dwarves can't go to the altar.
The bit where
Is that in there?
really
Yeah,
Is that in there?
I'm a little personal about that one.
you can't go to
Why?
the altar.
No, I don't know why.
Why? Because you can't
short.
reach the top of it.
That's I
But
guess the logic.
You're not religious. though.
Really?
No.
I mean, you
Are
had your wedding
Google
at a car
that.
museum.
Google that.
It was awesome. But
Are
you're
you-
not
are you-
religious.
Are you not liked by the Christians?
Apparently, according to Leviticus,
Wow.
Is it because you look like the devil?
small hands scare people.
It's the
Jim.
extra forehead. You can fit bigger horns.
Wait, so what have you?
that was
can
me.
you go to
I feel
church?
terrible. But Brad, I feel terrible about that last joke. I have a big forehead as well.
Have you been
That's okay.
baptized?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
You went to the altar then.
He
I
fell
know.
over in a puddle.
Someone just crossed themselves really fast.
Terrible.
I like how Jim's like, I feel terrible about that joke, and here comes another one.
Terrible.
3, 2.
Whereas the horn one was fantasy, the puddle thing that could have happened.
Dude, have you ever been? Because I always feel like because you guys always play Ewoks and whatnot. George Lucas must know a ton of dwarves, right?
Right.
But like, have you ever been offered to be in a science fiction film as
I
a
told
something?
you. Remember,
What?
I told you they're redoing Time Bandits.
Oh yeah.
You
I
could
said,
be fucking.
hey, don't take this the wrong way, but they're redoing Time Bandits. So
You
Yeah.
could be in
Breakdown.
Time Bandit. Kenny Baker's dead.
Yes.
That must have been a big win in your society.
Sure.
He was taking
A lot of jobs opened
Hey,
up.
Who's doing R2D2 now?
No one knows.
No, you know why no one knows?
'Cause he's all
because we
CGI.
can literally build R2D2.
I know.
Back in the 70s, we had to put a dwarf in a can to rotate the head. We were like, we can't figure out how to rotate
We don't
this
have
head.
gears.
We can make that. You know what I thought was offensive the other day?
What's that?
Chewbacca.
Chewbacca now
Yeah.
is being played by another white guy.
No.
Surely there's some black ex-basketball players that are
Sure,
like,
who's 7
"Fuck
feet
me."
tall. Right.
They got like a Swedish guy to play Chewbacca.
Yeah, it's like, oh, just because
And
Peter Mayhew can't walk
they have
anymore.
to paint the eyes black so they can put the mask on. Like, I'm just saying, there must be like
good.
an NBA guy
There's plenty.
who could do Chewbacca.
Right. Get Shaq
I
to
feel
do it.
like there's some. No, he's too fat to play Chewbacca. You need a lanky person.
Okay. You can
Hakeem Abdul-Jabbar.
you can get
Nope,
you can get
Kareem
Manute Bowles.
Abdul-Jabbar, but
I'm
Yeah.
talking
Hakeem
as well. I'm
Abdul-Jabbar.
talking about a different person, Forrest.
yeah, that's right. There's probably a
They
Hakeem
both could
Abdul-Jabbar.
do it.
Yeah, there's an Akeem Abdul-Jabbar somewhere.
Saba Agarwal. What do you think?
She's Mexican.
He's tall too, though, right? They're all tall.
All the Akeems are tall. I've never met a short Akeem.
Okay, real
Can't say
quick
I have
though, is there an update on the chair since your brother's here?
Oh, no.
I'll get in trouble for this.
No. The chair's coming. The chair's coming, but I haven't.
How are you
answered-
going to get in trouble?
Because I'm not the famous one. I always cop the shit for his shit.
No, I bought Mum a chair,
Yeah,
but I
yeah, I
haven't.
know.
I haven't told her that I'm doing it for free, and she's been ringing a lot.
Make her pay.
And you know what she
Make
did
her
it?
pay the money back.
Wait,
You know-
is it there yet? Is it there yet?
No, it's taking. Okay,
no,
it's
tell
taking.
us
it. From.
It's
Tell
taking
a
6
bit.
weeks. It's being made in Tasmania, right,
Okay.
which is the small one at the bottom of Australia.
Okay.
If you know what it looks like. A euphemism in Australia when girls are talking about the hairy bit in their vagina, they go, "My map of Tasmania." So that'll.
Yeah, in the day, but
That's a thing.
That's pre-Brazil.
It's a more 70s.
I'm gonna start.
70s,
I'm gonna
80s.
start using that. I'm gonna appear
Yeah.
cultured.
Yeah.
Oh, look at me map of Tasmania. Anyway, so the chair's being handmade in Tasmania. I rang up the people to buy the chair, which my mum said would cost $6,000. When I rang up, it was $3,100 or something because she was lying.
She just wants some extra
and
money.
she was trying to steal cash off
Yeah.
me. Anyway,
Showing that. Yeah.
so what happened? What are you doing, Forrest?
I'm showing Tasmania to people. That
Oh, okay.
I thought you were showing pictures of my mum. You had it on the widescreen.
No, that's on my phone.
Yeah, same size as Tasmania.
Yeah, she's a big.
Anyway, you know the Tasmanian devil?
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's being handmade in Tasmania. I ring up the people at the factory and I said, "How long is it going to take for this chair to get to my mother?" And they went, "Well, normally it would take 3 weeks, but it's going to take 6 weeks because your mum's asked for an extra wide chair." Oh, now, I'm sure she wanted to keep that fucking information quiet.
Well, I mean,
She does not want it on the podcast.
No, no.
Oh, well, but the
She hasn't
word's
figured out how to
about your mom.
download a podcast.
She listens to this. Trust me.
She does. My mum has Google alerts.
Yeah,
me.
anything you come
All
up
she
on.
does is sit in a chair and every
Does she have up Gunter up as a Google alert?
Don't say that
No,
shit.
but you know what's,
I get in
you
trouble
know
for
what's
that
weird? And people do this joke to me all the time.
Yeah.
About once a month, someone will write to me and go, "We've called our dog Gunter." So they can go up, Gunter up. And that's a joke that everyone says to me. It's a very common thing.
Sure.
But Scott gets all the credit for that joke. I get all the money.
It's still a sore point.
All right, I think that's the podcast.
All right, let me tell everybody where they can find all of our guests. Brad Williams, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
On Twitter, it's @FunnyBrad, and Instagram, it's @BradWilliamsComic.
And you can find him in magical villages.
Are you got any shows coming up? you
Under
wanna plug?
bridges.
Edit that out, Phil. Under
This
bridges.
weekend I'll be in Las Vegas at the Red Rock Casino, April 20th and 21st, doing 2 shows there. And
All
then
right, cool.
the following week, April 26th through the 29th, I'll be at Helium Comedy Club in Philadelphia.
That's a theater, right? Red Rock?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Fucking Brad Williams.
Doing-
I don't bring shit guests on.
And then Suba, your Twitter is @Suba. We should spell that SUBHAH. And then Instagram's @Suba or Ha. Suba. How do you say that?
Sorry.
It's SUBHAHA, like haha. Get it?
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Your mum has so many other reasons to be disappointed in you.
I thought mine was bad and presumptuous as
Super
funny, Brad.
ha-ha. Oh, fuck
terrible.
me.
So don't follow her there.
Yeah.
You should have been a virgin for longer.
Scott, you're on
Yes,
Instagram.
I am.
@ScottNugent101.
That's Scott Nugent
Why
101.
don't you plug your fiance's Instagram because she loves followers. Scott's engaged. I'll be going to his
What's
wedding
your-
in
what's
December,
your-
but
what's your Instagram?
she's
What's your
up
handle,
to she's
Claire?
up to 4,000. Claire, come up and say
I got
hello.
it right here. I'll find it. I got it for you. Whether you want it
She-
or not, Claire.
Her handle is @disappointedinscott.com.
It's @Claire CLAIRE_Ridley RIDLEY.
Her name's
Yeah,
Scott.
follow
Really?
her.
Are you looking?
Follow her.
Are you going to change your name to Claire Nugent? Yeah,
She thinks
why
she
not?
might.
Why
Good
not?
name.
It's a good name, like
Yeah.
Ted Nugent.
Not a lot of confidence
Yeah.
in that, by the way. So
Nah.
it was. And then I'm Forrest Shaw. It's @Forrest Shaw with 2 R's, FORRESTSHAW. Please go buy or rent my special, Poor Decisions. It's on iTunes and Amazon. And all
I've
that
seen it.
shit.
It's great for us.
And
Thank
I'm
you.
at Jim Jefferies. Ha ha ha.
Yippity-doo!
Yeah. Zippity doo.
Yeah, your Instagram,
Yeah, emoji dancing Spanish woman.
Jim Jeffries Zinger.
Mexican hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 emojis of a boomerang.
And all of our stuff is on our show is @Jeffries Show. That's us Twitter and on Instagram.
And if you want to get merchandise like Jim Jeffries mugs or Jim Jeffries hoodies, it doesn't fucking exist.
All right.
Goodbye, everyone.
Please subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, wherever you listen to podcasts. And please leave a review, too. And even if you're shitting on me, which everyone did last week. So thank you very much.
This has been a Comedy Central podcast.
Why no one knows?
Because he's all
Because we
CGI.
can literally build R2D2.
I know.
Back in the 70s, we had to put a dwarf in a can to rotate the head. We were like, we can't figure out how to rotate
We don't
this
have
head.
gears.
We can make that. You know what I thought was offensive the other day?
What's that?
Chewbacca.
Chewbacca now
Yeah.
is being played by another white guy.
No.
Surely there's some black ex-basketball players that are like,
Who's 7
"Fuck
feet
me."
tall. Right.
They got like a Swedish guy to play Chewbacca.
Yeah, it's like, oh, just because
And
Peter Mayhew can't walk
they have
anymore.
to paint the eyes black so they can put the mask on. Like, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it must be like
Not
an
good.
NBA, an NBA guy
There's plenty.
who could do Chewbacca.
Right.
Yeah.
Get
I
Shaq to
feel
do it.
like there's some. No, he's too fat to play Chewbacca. You need a lanky person.
Okay. You can
Akeem Abdul-Jabbar.
you can get
Nope,
you can get
Kareem
Manute Bowles.
Abdul-Jabbar, but
I'm
Yeah.
talking
Hakeem
I'm
Abdul-Jabbar.
talking about a different person first.
that's right. There's probably a
They
Hakeem
both could do it.
Yeah, there's an Akeem Abdul-Jabbar somewhere.
Saba Agarwal. What do you think?
She's Mexican.
He's tall too, though, right? They're all tall.
All the Akeems are tall. I've never met a short Akeem.
Okay, real
Can't say
quick
I have
though,
either.
is there an update on the chair since your brother's here?
Oh, no.
I'll get in trouble for this. You go.
No. The chair's coming. The chair's coming, but I haven't.
How are you
answered-
going to get in trouble?
Because I'm not the famous one. I always cop the shit for his shit.
No, I bought Mum a chair,
Yeah,
but I
yeah, I
haven't.
know.
I haven't told her that I'm doing it for free, and she's been ringing a lot.
Make her pay.
And you know what she
Make
did
her
it?
pay the money back.
Wait,
Is it there
know-
yet? Is it there yet?
No, it's taking. Okay,
no, you
it's
haven't
taking.
told
me from.
It's
Tell
taking
a
6
bit.
weeks. It's being made in Tasmania, right,
Okay.
which is the small one at the bottom of Australia.
Okay.
If you know what it looks like. A euphemism in Australia when girls are talking about the hairy bit in their vagina, they go, "My map of Tasmania." So that'll.
Yeah, in the day, but
That's a thing.
That's pre-Brazil.
It's a more 70s.
I'm gonna start.
70s,
I'm gonna
80s.
start using that. I'm gonna appear
Yeah.
cultured.
Yeah.
Oh, look at me map of Tasmania. Anyway, so the chair's being handmade in Tasmania. I rang up the people to buy the chair, which my mum said would cost $6,000. When I rang up, it was $3,100 or something because she was lying.
Just want some extra
And
money.
she was trying to steal cash off
Yeah.
me. Anyway,
Showing that. Yeah.
so what happened? What are you doing for us?
I'm showing Tasmania to people. That
Oh, okay.
I thought you were showing pictures of my mum. Yeah, on the widescreen.
No, that's on my phone.
Yeah, same size as Tasmania.
Yeah, she's a big.
Anyway, you know the Tasmanian devil?
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's being handmade in Tasmania. I ring up the people at the factory and I said, "How long is it going to take for this chair to get to my mother?" And they went, "Well, normally it would take 3 weeks, but it's going to take 6 weeks because your mum's asked for an extra wide chair." Now, I'm sure she wanted to keep that fucking information quiet.
Well, I mean,
She does not want it on the podcast.
No, no.
Oh, well, but the
She
word, the
hasn't
word's
figured out how to
about your mom.
download a podcast.
She listens to this. Trust me.
She does. My mum has Google alerts.
Yeah, anything you come
All
up
she
on.
does is sit in a chair and every
Does she have up Gunter up as a Google alert?
Don't say that shit.
But you know what's,
I get in
you
trouble
know
for
what's
that
weird? And people do this joke to me all the time.
Yeah.
About once a month, someone will write to me and go, "We've called our dog Gunter." So they can go up, Gunter up. And that's a joke that everyone says to me. It's a very common thing.
Sure.
But it's, Scott gets all the credit for that joke. I get all the money.
Still a sore point.
All right, I think that's the podcast.
All right, let me tell everybody where they can find all of our guests. Brad Williams, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
On Twitter, it's @FunnyBrad, and Instagram, it's @BradWilliamsComic. That's
And you can find him in magical villages.
Are you got any shows coming up? you
Under
wanna plug?
bridges.
Edit that out. Phil. Under
This
bridges.
weekend, I'll be in Las Vegas at the Red Rock Casino, April 20th and 21st, doing 2 shows there. And
All
then
right, cool.
the following week, April 26th through the 29th, I'll be at Helium Comedy
Is
Club in
that
Philadelphia.
that's a theatre, right? Red Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Fucking Brad Williams.
Doing-
I don't bring shit guests, son.
Moving on up. All right. And then Suba, your Twitter is @Suba. We should spell that SUBHAH. And then Instagram's @Suba or Ha. Suba. How do you say that?
Sorry.
It's SUBHAHA, like haha. Get it?
Oh my god! Oh my god! Your mum has so many other reasons to be disappointed in you.
I thought mine was bad and presumptuous as
Super
funny, Brad.
ha-ha. Oh fuck! Fuck
Terrible.
me.
So don't follow her there.
Yeah. You
She's
should have
not
been a
worthy of it.
virgin for longer.
Scott, you're on Instagram.
I am.
At Scott Nugent 101.
That's Scott Nugent
Why
101.
don't you plug your fiance's Instagram because she loves followers. Scott's engaged. I'll be going to his wedding in December.
What's your Instagram?
She's
your
up to
handle,
she's
Claire?
up to 4,000. Claire, come up and say
I got
hello.
it right here. I'll find it. I got it for you. Whether you want it or
She-
not, Claire.
her handle is at disappointedinscott.com.
It's at Claire CLAIRE _ Ridley RIDLEY.
Her name's
Yeah,
Scott.
follow
Really?
her.
Are you looking?
Follow her.
Are you going to change your name to Claire Nugent? Yeah,
She
why
thinks
not?
she might.
No.
Good name.
It's a good name, like
Yeah.
Ted Nugent.
Not a lot of confidence
Yeah.
in that, by the way. So
No.
that was. And then I'm Forrest Shaw. It's at Forrest Shaw with 2 R's, FORESTSHAW. Please go buy or rent my special, Poor Decisions. It's on iTunes and Amazon. And all
I've
that
seen it.
shit.
It's great for us.
And
Thank
I'm
you.
at Jim Jefferies. Ha ha ha.
Yippity-doo!
Yeah, zippity doo.
Yeah, your Instagram,
Yeah, emoji dancing Spanish woman.
Jim Jeffries Zinger.
Mexican hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 emojis of a boomerang.
And all of our stuff is on our show is at Jeffrey Show. That's us Twitter and on Instagram.
And if you want to get merchandise like Jim Jefferies mugs or Jim Jefferies hoodies, it doesn't fucking exist.
All right.
Goodbye, everyone.
Please subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, wherever you listen to podcasts. And please leave a review, too. And even if you're shitting on me, which everyone did last week. So thank you very much.
This has been a Comedy Central podcast.
Zippity doo.
Yeah, your Instagram,
Yeah, emoji dancing Spanish woman.
Jim Jeffries Zinger.
Mexican hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 emojis of a boomerang.
And all of our stuff is on our show is at Jeffrey Show. That's us Twitter and on Instagram.
And if you want to get merchandise like Jim Jefferies mugs or Jim Jefferies hoodies, it doesn't fucking exist.
All right.
Goodbye, everyone.
Please subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, wherever you listen to podcasts. And please leave a review, too. And even if you're shitting on me, which everyone did last week. So thank you very much.
This has been a Comedy Central podcast. This has been a Comedy Central podcast.